Your identity may be wrapped up in that being the responsible one or being financially responsible. And then all of a sudden, retirement comes and you're required to shift that mindset.
Know thyself, know thy numbers. So the first step to spending comfortably in retirement is to know your numbers and to have absolute clarity around how much you can safely save and still be okay.
And so when you think about not just about what you need in retirement, but also what you want, you can create that level of intentional spending. And intentional spending never feels wasteful. And that's what's important in the mindset shift.
Hello, welcome back.
Hello, glad to be here. Happy to see you.
Happy to see you too, partner. And welcome back to all of you to another episode of Living Richly with Curo. This is episode 82. We have a really good one for you today. We're super excited. And as always, my name is Ann McCabe. I am the CEO and a partner here at Curo Private Wealth. And I'm joined, as always, by my lovely partner, Atricia.
Hi, I'm Atricia Roberts, COO and a partner here at Curo. Thanks for coming back. If you've been around the Living Richly pod before or checking us out for the very first time.
We appreciate all of you. We love all of you. We also very much realize that your attention is precious and your time is precious, and you have no short of a billion other things you could be doing or listening to right now. So we are so grateful that you are investing some of your precious time and energy with us. As always, we are here to educate, inspire, and empower you on your financial journeys. And today we're going to talk about something that is surprisingly hard, very challenging, and also super common. And that is the mindset shift that has to occur when you go into retirement from a saving mindset to a spending mindset. And it is very much a mindset shift. So after years and years of saving, how do you flip that switch and actually feel comfortable spending the money that you have worked so hard to save? So we are going to walk you through a 5-step process, because who doesn't love a good process, right?
Yeah.
5 steps, easy peasy, and we will get you on your way to winning the game of feeling good about spending your money in retirement.
So we'll start a little bit with why it's hard, right? And just things that even Ann and I notice in our everyday practice. So for 30 or 40 years, your financial success was measured by how much you saved and how much you didn't spend, how little you spent. You were rewarded for that discipline, right? For being financially disciplined. Your identity may be wrapped up in that being the responsible one or being financially responsible. And then all of a sudden, retirement comes and you're required to shift that mindset. So, the healthy and the smart thing to do is to spend the money that you've worked to save. So, preparing yourself to shift identities is very important. And it's not always an easy transition. For women, it can be even more complex. And we talk a lot about the different dynamics and behaviors of women investors. But many of us have been taking care of others, balancing careers and caregiving. And the idea of spending down our assets can feel unsafe, even irresponsible or wrong. So the good news is, though, is that you can shift the mindset. And we are here today to give you some steps, give you a process to help set that intention and create a plan.
Yes. All right. Step number 1. Know your numbers. Know thy numbers.
Know, know thy numbers.
Know thyself, know thy numbers. So the first step to spending comfortably in retirement is to know your numbers and to have absolute clarity around how much you can safely save and still be okay. Never run out of money. That is the ultimate goal in retirement, is to never run out of money. And this is something we do each and every day with our clients here at Curo. So we run long-term projections for them. We're factoring in inflation, taxes, market returns, long term care, social security, pensions, if they have them, healthcare expenses. So, really, all inclusive of all of the various variables that could impact your financial plan and your financial position. And once you know what your safe spending number is, you will watch your anxiety drop dramatically because the fear is not really at the root about money. The fear is about that uncertainty, right? The uncertainty of, are you spending too much? Will you have enough? What if something unexpected happens? Are you going to run out of money? So let's say we crunch the numbers for you and we tell you that you can spend $10,000 per month comfortably, safely, and still be okay. And let's say you decide to spend $8,000 a month. Now that you have that knowledge that 10,000 is your safe spending number, spending 8 should feel more comfortable because you know you've got plenty of buffer there. So this clarity really creates freedom and hopefully confidence and comfort in your spending.
Yeah, and I absolutely love that light bulb moment when you're working through that plan with a client and you show them what
Yep.
number is their safe number, and you can almost see their face start
Yes.
to accept and acknowledge that clarity is so empowering.
Yes, absolutely. It's really fun for us to be able to watch that, as you said, light bulb go off.
Yeah, it's fantastic. Okay, so our second step, step 2, is to create a spending plan that you can actually enjoy. So if you've been around our pod before, you've heard us talk about a spending plan versus a budget. And this is even more important in retirement. Spending in retirement shouldn't feel like budgeting. It should feel like you creating your very best life. So here are 3 buckets that you can categorize your spending into. So number 1 is lifestyle. So these are your day-to-day life things, the bills you have to pay, right? The things you just have to sustain yourself, buying food, buying clothes. The second bucket we think of as experiences. So this is where you're going to think about your travel or time with family, those things that create memories in life. And then the third bucket is generosity. So this is where you want to categorize your spending in gifts, the things that leave a legacy or make an impact on your family or the community around you. And so when you think about not just about what you need in retirement, but also what you want, you can create that level of intentional spending. And intentional spending never feels wasteful. And that's what's important in the mindset shift.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay. Step number 3, we want you to automate your paycheck, quote unquote, in retirement. So, this is one of the most effective strategies that we use with clients in going into retirement and in retirement is to create a structured paycheck. So, every month, most of our clients choose monthly. Some of them will choose quarterly or annually, but I would say the most common frequency that we see is monthly. So, each month, money flows from your investment accounts, could be retirement plans, could be taxable investment accounts directly into your bank account, just like a direct deposit did with your paycheck back when you were working. And this gives you two benefits. Number one, it reduces the emotional friction of having to take money out, having to withdraw, right? Because again, for years and years, you were in the habit of putting money into your savings, into your investing, into your retirement plans, not taking money out. So, this really does reduce that friction. Number two, it creates a predictable rhythm, and humans thrive on structure. And we see, especially in retirement, the most successful and happy clients continue to have a structured routine. It's very different than it looked back when they were working, but having that predictability and that routine and that structure is extremely helpful. So, automating your paycheck in retirement will help you feel the clarity and also the structure.
Yep, and we have even clients I remember having a conversation where she was like, "Is it possible that I have it go on the 1st and the 15th so it feels like my old paycheck?" So there are ways to recreate that paycheck structure in retirement that I think is really helpful. So step 4. Now this one I think I'm already pretty good at, but practicing the muscle of spending. So yes, it is a muscle. Mine is pretty strong, but I won't speak for every but again, you've been saving your whole life. And just like you can't walk into a gym and immediately squat 200 pounds, right? You can't go from the sofa to that kind of a squat. You also can't expect to wake up in retirement and on day one suddenly feel like spending money is easy. It takes repetition. So you want to start small. So here are some ideas. Take one trip, right? Many people in retirement plan to travel more. So go ahead and book that first trip. Take it, see how it feels. Or buy one thing that you've been denying yourself, the thing that felt like the big unattainable purchase. This is one of our favorites, I think, for both of us, is try outsourcing something that makes your life feel easier. That could be a meal prep service or a cleaning service or a laundry service. Just try one thing. And then another good tip is to upgrade one thing in your house, right? So if you've been wanting to get a new range or a new refrigerator, try making that purchase and then pause and check in and ask yourself, did my world fall apart? Did my financial plan collapse? Or did I just do something I enjoy, right? Did life get just a bit sweeter? And I think each small step, each small practice of that spending muscle will build the repetition and then build the confidence you need to confidently spend in retirement.
This reminds me of a conversation. I was at a women's event, if you recall, a few weeks ago, and one of the women asked a question. She had been wanting to buy herself a really nice car and was very frugal and, never really spent money. And she was like, I just feel so guilty about even desiring to purchase that car, so how do I even go about making the decision of if it's okay for myself. So, of course, we talked about the numbers, but there is definitely this like underlying feeling of like, am I worthy of doing these things or spending this money on myself? So that's an example of something perhaps that you may have been denying yourself because you feel like it's irresponsible or you feel guilty about it. All right, y'all, we're on the last step number 5, and this is a really important one. Okay, so step number 5 is we want you to revisit your plan every year. So, financial planning is a fluid, flexible process. It is not enough to come up with a plan today and then expect that that plan will be set in stone for the rest of your life because life changes, markets change, your needs are going to change. So, it's incredibly important that you practice ongoing financial planning. And we really think of a financial plan as a living thing, something that we want to revisit at least once a year and adjust when your needs change. But the other thing this does is it reaffirms that you are still okay and you are still on track. And one of the interesting things that happen is that especially after a few years of really good market returns, like we have experienced so far, right? So 2023, very strong, 2024, very strong. Year to date, 2025 has been very strong. One of the cool things is that even if you've been spending the amount of money that you had projected, your numbers may look even better because hopefully with your initial projections, you were using some pretty reasonable conservative rates of return. And hopefully you've done better than that in the financial markets. So this is also a pretty empowering experience when you see, oh, I was projected to have X amount of dollars. I've been spending the money that I planned on spending, and yet I'm doing even better. So that is incredibly empowering. So when you see the numbers updated annually, the spending becomes less emotional and it becomes more intentional. And again, we go back to that confidence and that clarity that we want you to feel.
Yeah, and again, it's always nice when the market is our friend, when we're in the decumulation phase, but checking in helps us prepare for maybe when it's less friendly, right? Like almost like an open enrollment, right? Sometimes you go in and you're not actually changing your health plan. You just are going in every year to check. And I think that's the way we have to approach planning as well.
Yeah, exactly. And to your point, Atricia, when markets are not so friendly to us, this is also a good opportunity to perhaps pivot, right? So just like when you're working, if something changes in your financial position, let's say you're used to getting a really, really nice bonus every year, and this year you're not getting a bonus, right? And that's been part of your spending plan historically. Maybe you do have to slightly tweak your spending that year because of the lack of the bonus. It's the same thing in retirement. It's called dynamic spending. And it may make sense one year to not take the super duper expensive trip if markets have not been friendly to your portfolio. So this gives us an opportunity to have those conversations, come up with a game plan, talk about what the numbers look like, and again, give you that clarity. So here is what we want you all to remember and walk away with, hopefully, from this episode. You did the hard work, you saved, you were disciplined, you were responsible, you built your wealth. And now your job is to use the wealth that you worked so hard to create and to experience a life of joy and meaning and fulfillment and freedom. So, retirement is not the end of financial planning. It is the beginning of a new relationship with your money. And if you do find yourself in this situation, we want you to know that this is very common. You are not alone. And as Atricia mentioned a moment ago, taking baby steps, just like when you're trying to build confidence in any area of your life, taking those baby steps time and time again, that repetition will hopefully make you feel much more comfortable.
Yeah. Great tips. I hope it's helpful for anyone that's been struggling with how to confidently spend now that they're approaching retirement.
Yeah, exactly. And if you are not a client yet of Curo's and you don't know your numbers and you want to know your numbers, or you want to know what this looks like for yourself, we would love to chat with you and see if we would be a good fit. So please feel free to reach out. Our website is Curo, C-U-R-O, privatewealth.com.
I love how you said that as you're not a client yet, because we assume that you all at some point
Yeah.
will be our clients.
Yes.
We're excited to have you.
Yeah. We love helping people. And we have an amazing team.
Yes.
So reach out if you, would like that support. Second set of eyes. Yeah. All right. So what do we have for a closing thought today, Atricia?
So my closing thought is really about this idea of village. It's been coming up a lot just recently. I'm always reminded about the importance of having one, of creating one for yourself, but also being a part of other people's village. I feel like I've said that in conversation with friends and even with clients a lot over the last few weeks. I think it's a thing that parents consider, right? Raising children in many cases requires a village. It's got to be someone more than just you. But even in just taking care of each other and supporting each other. So my closing thought really is just showing gratitude for my village and then hoping and working and trying to be a good villager for someone else and in someone else's village. And I've just noticed so many positive instances of people taking care of other people, even when they didn't have to, right? When, you know, the situations happened and there was SNAP cut and people were not going to get their SNAP benefits for the month. And just the number of people who stepped up in donations and giving food and wanting to support people, right? That idea of community and village, I think, is incredibly important. And it's just been a running theme. So that's what's been on my mind a lot lately. So again, just encouraging you to create good villages for yourself, but also to be a good villager, right, to someone else and take care of the people around you. Or at least try to.
I love that. Yeah. It's so important to have that support system because we weren't
Yeah.
we weren't designed as human beings to go at it alone.
No. No.
We were designed to be part of a community, to be part of a
Yes.
village. Yeah. I love
Yes.
that. Okay, so for my closing thought, I actually have a hockey story to share.
Okay.
A real life situation that happened in goalie. So goalie is my 13-year-old. He plays with 13-year-olds and 14-year-olds. And we were playing against a team last weekend, and it was such a close game. They were up 3-2. And our coach ended up pulling goalie, my son, who is a goalie, pulling him out of the game so that they could add another guy on the ice, right? So you can have 6 people on the ice. They pulled him so that they could add another player so they could really try to like push hard and get a goal. So the puck is in the other team's zone. So we're trying to get a goal. And they end up with a breakaway, which for those of you who are not familiar is when the player gets the puck, breaks away. So there are no more defenders. And this kid has none of our defenders, has a breakaway with an open net, mind you, no goalie, no friction, no goalie. Okay. The kid, in an attempt to look cool or whatever, tries to lift the puck off the ice and get a top corner goal just to make it look prettier, right? Than just like
Yeah.
tapping it in.
Just a right, rather than just a tap, he wants to, like,
He wants to
fling
look
it into the
cool.
corner of the net.
Right.
Okay.
Exactly. He wants to, yeah, look impressive. So he ends up flinging it feet, like lots of feet above the goal. Okay. And he completely blows it. And everyone's like, "Oh, man," like, literally you can hear in the rink just, like, people like, "Oh, man, what a knucklehead." The coach ends up pulling him out of the game for being a knucklehead. And, my takeaway, and I've talked about this in different ways, is sometimes you don't need the fancy, super impressive, whether it's a goal or it's a, workout plan or it's a business plan or whatever. Like sometimes you don't need all the bells and whistles and you don't need to look really fancy to just like get the job done, right? Like literally this kid had to tap the puck into the open net. That's it. And he didn't. He completely blew it in a really, really good, very, very close game. So that is my closing thought. Apply that to wherever you want in your lives. But the point is that we don't have to, it doesn't always have to be the really super fancy, super shiny, super flashy path. Sometimes it's the really boring, easy path that's going to get us the win. And in this case, that did not happen for this kid.
Yeah. That is a great analogy, and as I get older, I realize that so much of the successful things you create are just done by the mundane, boring, routine things. The big flashy moments are nice when they happen, but most things are just built with the boring day-to-day stuff that we do, and we still get it done, right? We still find success, but it's a great analogy to think of it that way. It was so easy.
Yeah,
All you had to do was
so
tap it.
easy. I mean, and you should have heard it. Everyone was like, "Oh,"
Right, you can hear
just
the
like,
air suck
"Oh."
out of the ring.
Exactly, and here's a 13, 14-year-old kid, like, I believe he will never forget that moment.
Oh, and I was just gonna say, he will never forget that
Never. He
moment.
will never forget that moment, and I hope that he between, like, just the bonehead moment and then the coach pulling him out of the game, granted, there was only,
Yeah,
like, 2 minutes and 30 seconds left, but he will remember that, and I
yeah,
hope it was a good lesson, and it
yeah,
was definitely a moment for me a good reminder for me too of, like,
yeah.
yeah, you had the opportunity just to tap it in. Just take the easy,
But you
goal
wanted to
there,
make it flashy,
but
you
you
wanted to
wanted
make it
to
flashy.
yeah, you wanted to look cool, and you looked like a bonehead instead.
Yes.
All right, everyone. Well, thank you so much for joining us again for another episode of Living Richly with Curo. We love spending time with you. If you have any questions or any ideas for a future podcast, please email us at podcast@curoprivatewealth.com. And until next week,
Live richly.
thanks again for tuning in. If you enjoyed today's episode, please be sure to subscribe and share it with someone who might benefit from it. Friendly reminder that this is for informational purposes only. For additional information, please visit us at www.curoprivatewealth.com. Until next time.